Hello! We've decided to step away from root weaving for a while and shoot such a masterclass on weaving a flower, or rather a flower composition. I've been looking for an appropriate name for it for quite a while. Let's call it a drop-shaped flower. I started thinking of creating such a drop-shaped flower quite a long ago. However, I couldn't find the way to make the shape smooth. A couple of years ago I made such work pieces, but I wasn't quite satisfied with them, so I put them aside. Just recently I've got back to the idea. Now I realize what kind of a shape I'd like to get, so let me show you where my search has led me. For a frame I need 3 tubes, in which I insert a thin zinc-coated wire. If I'm not mistaken, mine is 0.8 mm in diameter. Three tubes are quite sufficient. I cross 2 of them for the base. As for the third one, it will be used as a stem. So I've got such a frame for weaving a drop. Then I take a normal tube with no wire inside. I leave a tail unengaged. I lift it later. Take a look, please. I place the tube from the top and start wrapping the tubes of this frame. Let's raise the tail and put it here. Smoothen the stitches and go in the second circle. So far I'm not using any auxiliaries, just creating a kind of a lock. I lengthen tubes very neatly. It's better to use universal polymeric adhesive here, because the joints are often found at the bends. And hold the joints firmly with your fingers. Let's go on. I've woven 3 rows. In order to get a shape like this, I've adjusted to using a round form. At first I used to distribute the tubes from the very beginning, and I failed to get the proper shape as a result. I even don't pin the woven cloth to the form, just join it to a foam plastic ball and weave following its shape. As you can see, I've used it quite a few times already, so it has gotten a bit compressed, but it's not a problem. It's time to lengthen the tube again. After this we continue with the same type of wrapping, lifting the tubes of the frame up to about half of the ball, so that it was easy to take the ball out. Direct the tubes of the base along the curves of the ball and continue wrapping in the same very way. Here the intervals between the rows get bigger as we raise the tubes of the base. You can see the distance between the tubes. That's all. I've performed the curve, taken the ball out. Now, depending on the shape you'd like to get, you can start narrowing right away or a bit later. As for me, I don't want my drop to be too big, so I start narrowing it right away. After performing the curve, I'm gradually bringing the tubes together. Here, where it takes too much effort to weave already, because the tubes of the base have gotten too close together, I soften the working tube and kind of embroider with it, leading it as if a needle. Make sure the stitches are placed above each other with no gaps. One more essential point. When you lengthen, it is convenient to use a closing clip, especially here when you have to take a tube and soften it. Well, let's lengthen the tube and make a couple more stitches. Just fasten the tail with a closing clip and take a new tube. School glue doesn't do well here, cause the tubes are exposed to much bending. Universal polymeric adhesive copes with the task much better. You just apply some of it, hold with your fingers for a while and continue working. Well, let's make a couple more stitches. Here's some gap yet. Now it looks like it's time to finish. At first I used to just bring all the tubes of the base together and wrap them with a working tube. Then I decided to try and hide these tails a little. That's why I bend them this way and make some wrapping. You can make such loops, for example, of two opposite tubes and make some wrapping like this. After this, I lead the end here. Actually, I've tried different options. The main thing is to get the edge neat. And then tuck the ends in. Here to cut them, it's up to you. As a result, I've got such a drop. These tails will get cut off and glued. Since I've got wire inside, I can try and curve the drop toward any direction. You can still work to improve the shape a bit. I personally like the drops which are a bit curved this way. You can use any ball or hemisphere as a form. It can be a piece of a toy or case for it. Any spherical or hemispherical item to shape your drop around it. After this, I wrap the stem. As a rule, I add a couple more tubes. I insert them here and add some glue to fasten them thoroughly. deform the wrapping until the point where I join a leaf. As for the tube I wrapped with, I insert it into the hole as well, to avoid any weak points here where the tube could slide out otherwise. So I tuck the tube in very neatly and start wrapping the stem. After a while I'll add a leaf. I've experimented with different types of leaves, but finally I've chosen such a flat woven strip. Let's recall the way we start weaving a herringbone pattern. 1, 2, and 3, and add one more tube here. This way. Now lead the rightmost tube under one, onto one, the rightmost again, now the leftmost, the rightmost under one onto one, the leftmost under one and onto two actually. That's all, the one tube length is sufficient, I mean with no lengthening of the tubes. Finish weaving. That's all. That's enough. The tubes are soft and easy to deform. Here I lengthen the tube neatly. I drop some glue here to make the leaf stick without sliding out. Let's cut the tails shorter at different lengths to avoid getting the stem too thick. Anyway, it will get somewhat thicker. Well, let's make a couple more coils to avoid hugging the leaf with a tube joint. Since I've curved the flower in this direction, I'm going to apply a leaf to the opposite side. I fasten the joint with some glue. Make sure you don't break the wrapping pattern. Well, you can add one more leaf. Depending on the composition you'd like to get, you can make either 1 or 2 leaves, or whichever number of leaves you need. I also like the way the leaves are combined with such springs. The springs are fun to make. Mine are about 3 tubes long. I lengthen them on wire. Or if you've got some cone-shaped form, you can make a spring like this. As an option, you can make many thin springs, or make them thicker, or combine different types. Well, I personally believe it's better to avoid overloading the composition. Then I cut off the excessive tails, coat the item with lacquer and form a composition. This is my discovery I wanted to share. I like these drop-shaped flowers. Hope you will like them too. If you are not our subscriber yet and have come across this masterclass accidentally, you are welcome to subscribe to our channel. Click like as this helps to promote the channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to be notified of our new masterclasses. See you!